Shalom. I'd like to start off by saying I want to give all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rahah Kwadash. I also like to say double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, men who have labored in this truth for over 30 years, making their lives and their bodies a living sacrifice to bring forth this truth on which Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rahah Kwadash has given them. And from those men we have learned. I like to say shalom to the various GMS camps and the leaders of those camps, men who are on the highways and hedges, week in and week out, video after video, sincerely doing the work. I also like to say shalom to all the various groups that are out on the highways and hedges as well, not named GMS, but walk in the same one lockstep in spirit, one body in Yahweh Shai, with the 100% truth, with sincerity. Shalom. Akim, just want to bring this quick. Hopefully it's not long, but I've been saying that I wanted to pull up this sit down that Joe Budden and Kamala Harris had did with so-called civil rights leaders. And I want you to just hear this, how Massa deals with the house Negro. I'm going to pull a few precepts and I'm going to cut it.
Submit us to a double standard, whether they be on the left or the right, because many of us are not intimidated by either side. A lot of people call themselves that call themselves progressive, are progressive about everything but race. All of a sudden, when blacks start making money as lobbyists, they're against that, they're against this. They do not necessarily speak for us. What I'm saying is that when you have progressives that will question your nomination, your nominee for the defense department, making history, and he will need a waiver. Well, it will look very strange to many of us that two white guys can get a waiver, but the black nominee couldn't. It would look very strange to us that we can see people that we're hearing are up for attorney general, but the black guys, if it's a Tony West, well, it may be nepotism. If it's a DeVal Patrick, well, we don't know. At least make sure we are equally considered in the running. And I think that it is important, it is imperative, and I know you. I think I saw a commercial, I know Joe, I know you. I sat next to you 8 years in just about every civil rights meeting Barack Obama had, and you pushed him. And you're right, it's our job to push you. And you sat there, you were there. I sat next to you when Obama sat there with young activists, as I hope you will, with Patrice Cullors and others, and listened to them, and we started this commission on policing. It's almost forgotten history now, because a lot of that body cameras and all are almost something that you can put in a museum because they're turned on and turned off when they want. You were part of making that happen. That's why I think that it is totally ridiculous for anyone to think that we could put a Rahm Emanuel, who covered up Laquan McDonald's killing as mayor, in any position without our raising from the civil rights community that this man did something that, in our opinion, was just absolutely unpardonable. So as you know me, and I know you, and I know you, Vice President-elect, I will never embarrass you. I never in 8 years, even when I disagreed with President Obama, National Action Network, you both have been there, spoke for us several times. We will not embarrass you, but we will never lie to you. And we will never tell you that things are going certain ways that they're not going. As I said that day in Selma, Mr. Vice President-elect, that we are not looking for better slave masters, we're looking for freedom. And you stood up and said, I'm right. I was directing it at an opponent of yours, because some people think they can come in at the last minute, say they're progressive, throw their fists in the air, and we are conned by that. So I'm very happy that you're there. I'm happy that Ms. Kamala Harris is there, Senator Harris, now Vice President-elect, not because of your stellar records, not because of your position, but I've seen you hold George Floyd's daughter's hand, and I've seen you, Vice Kamala Harris hold Eric Garner's mother's hand. That's the kind of president-elect and vice president-elect that we need to turn that compassion into some concrete legislation and the policies that we need. So we're not just holding hands, but we're moving forward. And we want to move forward together. And we want to maybe not always agree, but be able to walk out with a common agenda that all of us can live with and make life better for everybody. So I thank you for this meeting. I thank all my colleagues that joined in asking for this meeting. And I'm sorry if I was a little more candid, but you would have thought I was a clone if I didn't do Al Sharpton.
Look, Mark, let me update you where we are in time. We probably have a couple of minutes. I really wanted to.
Let's go to the president, vice president.
I want to go to the president-elect, but I know Derek told me he had one thing that he wanted to get out. Derek, if you can do that quickly, we can go to the president and vice president-elect to close us out. Derek, you're muted.
You're muted, Derek. I'm there. President-elect, you've mentioned more than once how the Black vote saved you in your races in the Senate in Delaware. You've talked about your friendship with Mouse. We are now saying the Black community has stood up in this election cycle. Let's not suffocate the Black vote in Georgia and make sure we send the right message, because the success of this administration will be the ability of the Senate to confirm your nominees. We have an opportunity here. We want to make sure we seize upon this opportunity and allowing for the input necessary. 10 more appointments to go. A lot of people in our community are getting a little anxious because they are not seeing enough of the progress they thought they would have seen at this point. Let's not disappoint them, and let's not get to a place where voters in Georgia begin to second guess.
Okay, let me respond. I gotta go. Let me respond. There's a lot to respond to here. Let's get something straight. You shouldn't be disappointed. What I've done so far is more than anybody else has done this far.
Now it's Massa's turn. Let's see what this forked-tongued devil, how he responds to these like you heard Al say. I'm just repeating what Al said. If I didn't speak like this, you would think I was a coon. Let's see what these so-called coons, how they respond to Massa Biden. Check this out.
Okay, number one. Number two, I mean what I say when I say it. I mean what I say when I say it. I'm the only person who's ever run on 3 platforms that I was told could not possibly win the election, and I never ceased from it. One was on restoring the soul of this country because of what I saw happen in Charlottesville. That was it. No one else was talking about it. The words of presidents matter. Nobody else, no progressive, was talking about it. I did. My son Bo used to have an expression. He'd say, remember, Dad, home base. It ain't worth the job if I can't say what I believe. I didn't want to run this time. I ran this time because of the racist son of a gun who was president of the United States of America. That's why I ran. And you'll remember, a lot of you told me talking about the soul of America was going over people's heads. They didn't know what we're talking about. The words of a president matter. What a president says matters. And you've never seen me shy away. In the middle of the debate, I called him a racist. In the middle of the debate with him, I took on white supremacists. I'm the guy that took on every single time somebody was threatened in this country. The only white boy you know who did it, period, out there. Every single time. So look, all I'm saying here is, guys and ladies, we're on the same exact page. The same exact page. We talked about closing the racial wealth gap. That's the single biggest thing I want to get done. It's the ultimate equalizer, no matter what else happens. Because I plan on spending over $15 billion to provide for opportunity for young Black entrepreneurs to get them off the ground. Black farmers to be able to own their own property. Young people being able to get their first $15,000 down payment on a home. Making sure that they have an opportunity to gain wealth. We can do all the rest of this unless the Black community is able to make up the wealth gap, in my humble opinion, is real trouble. I support same-day registration. I'm the guy that extended the Voting Rights Act for 25 years as a United States Senator. Before, Sherilyn, you were even involved. I got it, and I started off, I'm much older than you. That's why I got involved in politics. The assault on the black vote and voting rights across the nation has never been more ugly than it is today. You got to go all the way back to the original Jim Crow to get where this guy is. If in case you haven't looked, we have the largest voting right, Kristen, my operation, 1,000 lawyers, bigger than you or anybody else out there on voting rights. 1,000 in this campaign. Not a joke. 1,000. So I want you to know, I understand this. I know, look at the 38 cases that have been brought against my being president of the United States. All about phony actions. And so I think there should be same-day registration, automatic voting rights. I've been pushing, and I got a number of people that contribute significantly to the effort down in Florida to make sure that that federal prisoners who serve their time have every single right restored to them. That's been my position before it was anybody else's position. I've been out pushing that. In addition to that, I think it's really important that no one goes to prison for a drug offense. Nobody. They go into rehabilitation. Rehabilitation, that's what we should be building.
For the record, President Joe Biden, formerly named Joe Budden, if you go back into the history and do your research, you'll see that he was on the panel during President Clinton's administration, who enforced and quite frankly enhanced those drug laws. So this fork-tongue speaking devil, go do your research and you'll read up on that. He was one of the forerunners of coming up with that legislation for 3 strikes rule, which was more harsh than the outgoing administration, which was the Vice President Bush and Ronald Reagan. Remember, Ronald Reagan he actually made laws on the war against drugs. But you go back to President Nixon, he was the one who actually coined that phrase. But it wasn't until President Reagan's administration where they actually came up with the legislation. And then when Clinton came along after Bush, the first Bush, he actually enhanced that. And lo and behold, the president that you Jakes have ran out and flocked for, that's like the Jake down in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen right here, because I'm actually facing the TV, said that it was because of the black votes that, you know, we don't want to forget about what was done. You even said that the black vote helped you get over that line. You understand what I'm saying? So essentially, you are writing your own ticket to prison. You understand? By voting for these people, which you have no dog in the race. You don't have a dog in the race. And you older Jakes are quick to put them little buttons on and say, well, if you didn't vote, be quiet. No, you be quiet. Why these folks sit here and play these parlor tricks with your dumb ass? Salakia. Let's keep moving.
Rehabilitation centers, not more prisons. I have a $20 billion effort that I'm proposing to get states to change their sentencing guidelines so that there is no more mandatory sentences across the board. In addition to that, we're talking about having diversity hiring in every agency. I promise you that is going to happen. We're just getting started here. Police reform, judicial reform. Look, you know, if you notice, when I was chairman of the Judiciary Committee and when I was advising the president, who did we get on the court? We got on a woman who worked for me, became a member of the Supreme Court. Another woman who was a leading Hispanic in America no one paid attention to is on the court. All the people that I pushed on the court have been really pro.
It's a lot for me stopping this again. Notice how he's not going back into the previous administrations prior to Barack Obama's administration, which through the spirit, I believe he's not a Jake. That's why it didn't look no different from George W. Bush's administration onto his administration. But he leaving out certain facts. You understand? And in this country, and this rulership, facts do not matter. Facts do not matter.
Campbell, that's what this is all about. Making sure that, you may remember, I'm the first person, black or white, who called attention to the fact that you were finding that there was the rate of people who were African Americans who were dying was 3 times that of white people. That's because a friend of mine, a white guy who happens to be, as you well know, Derek, the mayor of the city of Detroit, called me to tell me about it. I insisted that we keep a record on everything that happened since then. Because guess what I'm saying, guys, is, I mean what I say. The hard part here is I'm going to have a lot of trouble. We're going to have a lot of trouble getting a lot of this done with this Congress. And so the question is, for example, I'm going to be appointing at least, and look, the reason I'm not telling you who the other black maybe cabinet positions I'm going to appoint are is because it'll get out, and guess what? I can't defend them. They're going to be out there by themselves without any defense before their name. They're going to get ripped to shreds. That's why I'm going to wait. You will be pleased, I believe. You will be pleased to see there'll be more African Americans in major positions within the cabinet in major spots and more Hispanics in major spots than ever in American history. That's going to happen. I promise you that. And the other thing is, for example, thus far, for example, when we went ahead and we made sure that, I have as, the Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, but at number 2 is Wally Adeyemo, an African American, who is the number 2 guy with real authority at that department. Look underneath just what we're doing in addition to the people we've already named. You're going to see people, look, and Cecilia Rouse, Cece, she is a significant player. That's a serious position. But it's like when I name it, well, I don't know if that counts, I'm not so sure. Well, if it doesn't count for y'all, well, the hell with y'all. But because it's real, it's real. So all I'm saying is look at us, judge us based on what we do. You're going to see more coming your way. And not only that, within...
He said it, judge me on what we do. Now, if you check this man's track record, what does it say? Huh? Okay, let's continue.
In the White House as well. Cedric is the best. Cedric's been with me from the beginning. And Cedric is going to be overseeing a great deal of this, and not all his responsibility, but he's in every single meeting. He's an assistant to the president. He's in every single meeting in the White House, period. And so what we're going to be doing here is making sure that we have diverse hiring, not only and for the main cabinet position and the sub-cabinet positions, but down the line. It's going to make a big difference, and within the White House as well.
And that's exactly what I think the president-elect has made clear that he and I understand is exactly how we should proceed. I will tell you, having spent, I'm in Delaware right now. I've practically moved to Delaware.
COVID.
And I have been...
Hotel DuPont is nice.
Yeah, and I have been spending a lot of time with the president-elect. And I will tell you something. I'm in those meetings. He and I have conversations when people are in the room and when nobody is in the room, when the cameras are on and when the cameras are off. I guarantee you, I have no question, nor should anyone.
Enough of that. Check this out. I really was trying to catch a certain phrase that devil was saying, and that devil I'm talking about particularly is Joe Biden. Joe Biden with his lying ass. I'm going to bring out a couple of precepts and I'm going to close this out. This is Psalm 73, verse 6, and it reads, "Therefore pride compasseth them as a chain, violence covered them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than their hearts could wish. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully." He was wagging his finger at these jakes, these chumps, And I'm just bringing out a few scripts, they may or may not hit the point, but I'm bringing them out nevertheless. Because see, those jakes that you see sitting in front of the camera there, those some wicked ass jakes. And this right here, what we're looking at, is nothing but theatrics. This telephone conference call, it was set up. See, originally he was supposed to sit down and meet with these jakes, you understand? So they orchestrated things where they have a Skype meeting, which you're looking at right now. But mind you, this meeting that they're having is scripted. You're looking at balance here, you understand? You're looking at balance, And those jakes that sit up here talking and whatnot, they've received their consolation for participating in this. They can care less about the majority of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They can care less. They can care less. Al Sharpton is a known snitch. Go back into the 80s and the 90s and look at this man's record. All these so-called educated jakes up here are paid. They're paid opposition. You don't get in front of this man's camera, especially when it comes to these major news outlets, and you get up here and speak this and that and the third. They are reading from scripts. And they're supposed to be convincing. And they are for the most part when it comes to you 2/3 Negroes. I want to pull out a quick script here. This is the book of Maccabees. Yes, we're going into the Apocrypha real quick. This is the book of Maccabees. Let me grab my glasses because I can't see. And I'll be in here because I can't see. Let's get it real quick. This is the book of Maccabees, chapter 1, because this explains who you're looking at right now. The book of Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse, let's get it straight to the point. Now, you know what? I'm going to start at verse 10. This is First Maccabees 1 and 10, point being 11, and it reads, "And these came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus, the king who had been an hostage at Rome, and he resigned in the hundreds, and he reigned, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of Greece." Now this is going back to Alexander the Greek, Slacker. This is going back to this, and how his generals, his homeboys he grew up with, after Alexander had conquered the known world, his homeboys took part and parted up his kingdom. But mind you, there were jakes back then. You understand? And what you're looking at now are those jakes reincarnated. Verse 11, and it reads, "In those days went out there out of Israel wicked men who pursued many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant. Let's go make a contract with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow." Verse 12, "So this device pleased them well." This device pleased them well. Verse 13, "Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathens." And you heard Al Sharpton talking about, and I know you held the hand of George Floyd's daughter, and I know you. I sat down beside you, and man, let me tell you something, man. These folks, these so-called black leaders, they've been shot up by Esau Edom. Those are these same people back in Antiochus, back in the Greek days, that are reincarnated in today's form, talking about Voters' Right Act and all this. But mind you, they are fighting for votes to get people in that don't even look like them. And historically now, and checking the record, these people have always went against you. Always. So you got to ask yourself, what are you really looking at when you look at these sit-downs with these people? When they're talking to the enemy? Huh? when they're talking with the enemy. That man that got in there, he went to wagging his finger at them like they were children. You seen it? Look, I done did more than anybody, and this and that and the third. Went to wagging his finger at them as these, you know what I'm talking about? And if you don't like it, if you don't agree with it, the hell with all of y'all. You heard it? You heard it. We're gonna pull a quick script. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, start at verse 10, and it reads, "Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness." Now he did all that old running around, and he did that interview with what that was, the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne, the God. He ain't no damn God. But anyway, he did that interview and he was saying, you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. And you know how they throwing that word black around. You understand? That narrative correcting, that narrative keeping word black. Then he gets up here, you know, he duck and dodge so-called civil rights community, and then he gets up here and he wags his finger and tell him to hell with them. But the scripture say you never trust your enemy. Verse 13, who would pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh a wild beast? Huh? Because that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a serpent, and you're dealing with a man with a beast mentality. And nobody's going to pity you 2/3. Lord willing, the men of the Lord that are out on the highways and hedges are not of that ilk. The remnant, Lord will not be one of those men, are not of that ilk. And your few sisters that watch, Lord willing, you don't have to deal with this snake when he turn around and bite you. You know what I'm talking about, for handling with his beastly nature. So that's exactly what's going to happen. You see the remnants of it now. He got that position. It's a wrap. But I didn't want to make that long. Just want to pull out a few strips. You know, I said that I will speak on that. You know. So with that, I want to say all praise and honor and glory are due unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders who rule well. Peace and shalom unto the Akim that are on the highways and hedges, bringing forth this 100% truth. GMS and men likewise. Shalom.